Did I just waste 12 months of my life following the income school method? Well, I went through my data for 2 full days to find out, and I'm going to share everything with you right now. So let's jump into the computer and see those figures. Hello YouTube, and a very special hello to all my subscribers. My name's Phil and welcome to my channel. So I've been documenting my journey building an online income on this channel for quite a few months now, and I've actually reached a bit of a milestone. So I've been following the Project 24, or the income school method, for over a year now, and I just want to share my journey so far. So there's a few things that I'm going to talk about in this video that I don't normally talk about in my monthly updates. So if you're joining me for the first time, why not subscribe? Because I think you're going to learn quite a lot in this video, because I've made quite a few mistakes which I'll reveal later on. Okay guys, I know a lot of you just want to see those raw, dirty figures. You want to see the page views for 12 months on this site. You want to see how much money I've made. Well, I'm going to show you that now, but make sure you stick around, because I think I've found a few really interesting ideas that you should know about for your own sites, so you don't make the same mistakes that I might have done for this site. So don't go anywhere. Okay, let's look at those figures now though. Okay, so 12 months on my main Project 24 website, I've managed to get 22,910 page views, and you can see this is from May the 20th, 2019 to May the 23rd of this year, 2020. And you can see that famous hockey stick growth. So if we just look through, it's pretty much nothing, all the way until we get to about January, and suddenly I start getting a little bit more traction. February, you know, it sort of goes up by about a half there, and then coming into March, it just takes off. April, May, and things are looking pretty good. So that's what I've managed to do, and I will say that that's 22,910 page views with 0 backlinks. So I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know if it's impressive, but I think it's pretty cool. So I just want to put this in a bit of perspective. If we look at the month of May, so that would be 12 months into my journey with Project 24, I reached 12,164 page views there. So that's what, 50% of the total page views I've got for 12 months. So you can tell that it can very quickly take off. You can have a website that's dead for many months, and then suddenly you get the traction. Okay, so that is the page views that I'm getting at the moment. Let's talk about the money, because I'm sure you want to know about that. I mainly, for the main Project 24 website that I've got, which I can reveal is actually in the food kind of niche, food and drink niche. So I only really put on Amazon affiliate links back in January, and as you probably know, Amazon just went and kicked us all up the arse recently and cut our commissions. So if we look for, this is the year 2020, basically it's the $136.76. I got a bounty, but that was connected to a different site. So this is basically for this year, $136. If we were to look for last year, it's really impressive. So last year I made $11.69, and to be fair, about 4 of those dollars was from another site too. So we're looking at something, since the site's been going, I've made you know, just under $150. And if we also look at ads, so I only recently put ads on. I joined a Zoic. Now if you're a Project 24 member, you can actually join a Zoic with pretty low page views. You can get in with about, I think they say about 1,000 sessions. It doesn't really matter. But so I put this back, I put these ads on back in the 8th of May. And so I've made about $20 so far. To be honest, I think they're still trying to sort things out, and you can see that the earnings have gone down recently from about the 20th. So I think I got hit by another there's another Google algorithm update from around the 20th of May. Yeah, things have gone down a little bit, but I'm not too worried. For me personally, I kind of focused on getting the traffic first, and then afterwards I'm going to try and monetize it. So that's why perhaps I'm a little bit behind in terms of what Jim and Ricky from Income School would say that someone in my position, how much they should be earning right now. I'm not too worried about that because I know that the hardest thing is to get traffic. I've been trying to do this for about 5 years and I've never ever seen traffic like this. And I think it's just amazing what you can do just writing posts and nothing else pretty much. Okay, so if you're joining me for the first time and you're thinking, what the heck is Project 24? Well, let me quickly just explain it. So Project 24 is basically an all-encompassing training course set up by Jim Harmer and Ricky Kessler over at Income School. And it's really teaching you how to build a full-time income from blogging, YouTube, whatever, basically from online within 24 months. So I am a member, so I actually, I joined up back in May 2019. So you can see I'm still a member. And actually what I did last week, I actually subscribed to the second year. So you can see that I've signed up in May 16, 2019, and I've subscribed for another year because I'm in it for the 24 months. I want to really test this system. Does it work? And to be honest, so far, I think it is working. So let me just give you a bit of an overview of the main Project 24 website that I've built. I do have 3, but this first one has been sort of my passion project, and I've really been trying to build that one up. So let's have a look at that overview now. So I kind of started the site on the 16th of May. I bought the domain, I joined Project 24, and I went through the first couple steps of their 60 steps to blogging success. And I wrote my first response post on the 20th of May. So since then, in the last 12 months, I've written 100 posts, and the breakdown is about 68 response posts. So that's about 1,350 to 1,500 words. Staple posts, I've written 21. So normally they're around 2,500 words. Pillar posts, I've written 11 of those, around 3,500 words. And I've got 13 YouTube videos, but the YouTube channel, I haven't really touched it since September. And this is really a priority for me in the second year of this project. So I was going through the figures and I found that the average post length for those 100 posts is around 2,267. I tend to write, even if it's a response post, I tend to hit around the 2,000 word mark just because I've got into the swing of it now. I have a little bit more background knowledge about my niche, and it's a little bit easier for me to just talk about what people should know about that particular query. Also the heading length, you might be interested to know. On average, I'm writing about 56 characters. So I do notice that sometimes you can have your title cut off, and I'll put a link to this, but there's a really cool tool where you can check how your title looks on a web page, and it really depends on the actual letter, how much space it takes up on the page. It's not only just the character, but how much space it takes up when it's rendered. So I've been using that lately to make sure that everything is clearly visible and doesn't get cut off, because I think that might affect click-through rate. So if we're talking about total writing hours, so based on the Project 24 sort of guesstimation of how long you should spend on each post, it's probably taken me about 268 hours to write all that, which is something like, if you spent 8 hours 30 days, you could do this. You could write those 100 posts, everything I've written, in about 30 days, working 8 hours a day. So yes, it's not easy if you have a full-time job, but if you're in the position where you don't have a lot of things to do right now, this was a position I was in last month, just get cracking. You can do a lot in not so much time, to be honest. And as you can see, the total revenue for this site is about $164.74. So that's sometimes it's kind of hard to tell where things come from, but pretty much that's from this site, from ads from Amazon. Now, if you've been in the same position as I have, you've been trying to make money online for years and you've never really managed to get traffic to any of your sites, which happened to me, I really do recommend Income School and Project 24. It's totally changed the way that I approach building websites, getting traffic to websites, and I can tell you it's working. Although it is a long, slow progress, it can really work, and it doesn't have to cost you any money to actually build up that traffic. So if you are interested, then check out the link in the description and it will take you to a webinar and it will explain everything about Project 24. I really recommend it, and this is why I signed up for a second year. Now just be aware that if you click on the link, it is an affiliate link, and if you make a purchase, then I get a commission, which I really do appreciate. But even if you don't use my link, go join Project 24. It's totally going to change everything for you. Okay, so let's talk about the next part. We've already seen the growth of my site. So obviously from about March 2020, it just took off. But I went through and just checked the percentage growth, comparing 1 month to the next. And if you look through here, you can see basically in the second month, very quickly it went from nothing to some traffic, but in reality there wasn't that much traffic. But the biggest thing here was in November and December things just dropped off. I think a lot of people got hit by an algorithm update there, and although December is a fairly busy season for a lot of like e-commerce sites and things, my site just got hit and I lost nearly 50% of my traffic there. But it bounced back in January. That's when things really started to take off for me. And if you look through, generally month by month, the traffic's increasing by about 50%. And yeah, that seems to be true, especially in the last 3 months. So it's worth just remembering that if you follow this program, you're likely to see this kind of growth. It's slow, it's steady, but you know, increasing 50% every month, that can quickly build up. Okay, I just want to talk about my publishing schedule, and I'm incredibly embarrassed about this. I started off so strong and then things all went to pot. So you can see that in May, when I started the 60 steps to successful blogging, the first main course for Project 24, I got my 19 posts there. And then in June and July, I only managed to get 8 out. I didn't do anything in August. I think I had a bit of a burnout. But in September, we had my first Content Warrior Challenge. And I pushed out 25 posts in a month, which was pretty draining, I can say. That's why in October I didn't do much. And pretty much until March, I wasn't doing that much work on this site. That's because in October, I started 2 different sites. So I have 2 separate sites that I started following the same Project 24 method. And so on those, I've got on one site, which is in the wedding niche, I've got about 34 posts. And on the third site, which is a service niche, I've now got 50 posts up, and there's about another 20 ready to be scheduled out. I just have to edit them, and I'm getting about 1,000 page views a month on the second site and around 6,000 page views on the third site. That's just crazy growth there. So March, I did another Content Warrior Challenge where I was trying to write a few more posts, and you can see that in May I was really trying to get to my personal target of 100 posts by the end of the 12 months, and I managed to do that with a few seconds to spare. So that's my 100 posts spread over 12 months. And to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with myself. It would have been nice to kind of keep an average of 10 to 15 every month, but you know, other things get in the way. There's only so many hours in the day, and I think the biggest mistake I made was I became distracted Although, yes, I've got two other sites and I've got other projects which are slowly building in traffic, it may be better just to concentrate on one thing, get it built up, get it successful, and then go from there. Maybe if I went back, I'd change what I did, but you know, you can only look to the future. Hello, babe. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the middle of filming a video. So one of the things I really enjoyed about doing the preparation for this video is it gave me an opportunity to look back at everything I'd written, how it was ranking and all those kind of things. So the first thing I looked at as I was going through each post, because I searched the query, my main target query for each post, and I just looked back at the competition. How well did I do search analysis, and how has it changed since I did it back, when I wrote those posts? So I looked through and I basically categorized my competition based on the other websites which were ranking. So things like if they were established websites, now I know my niche a little bit better. I know the big boys in the niche. Whether or not there were forums, were there sites that I didn't really recognize, how good was the quality of the posts that were ranking on the SERP. So I went through and I figured that about 33% of my posts were ranking in competition I thought was quite low. About 53% is medium, and about 14% in high competition type of queries. So you can see, yeah, basically 50% of my posts about medium quality. Now, was that because I didn't do my search analysis well in the past, or was that things have changed since I've posted them? Well, it's kind of hard to say. I think if you were doing it again, it would be a good idea for each query to actually note down the web pages that were ranking on the top 10 pages, 10 results, I should say. And then you could keep a record of that and go back later on and always check. That's something I wish I had done. And you might question why, 14% of the posts, why are you targeting high competition queries? Well, there are just certain queries within your niche that you kind of need to go for. Those kind of big, those kind of queries where it would be weird if you didn't write about it. You may not win them to begin with, but as your site grows, you're more likely to rank for those. And that's kind of what I thought. So I kind of punted for a couple of queries, and that's representing the 14% high competition. So in terms of my post ranking, you can see here on the left, 76% of my posts are actually on the first page, which I was pretty pleased with. That's not too bad. 76 posts out of 100, so that's pretty cool. I also checked and I looked at it in a little bit more detail, and if you look on the right here, you can see 70% of my posts are ranking position 1 to 5. Now, when I say 1 to 5, I actually, as I was doing this, I actually forgot that snippets are now position 1 instead of position 0. So that may sort of mess up the figures a little bit. So around 70% are position 1 to 5, which is still pretty cool. And also 24% of my posts are getting the snippet. Now this may seem a little bit low, but I did notice that there was a fair few queries where I was in position 1, but it wasn't a snippet. So I kind of counted just where I actually won the snippet. But I think I would be top of the page in nearly sort of 30 to 40% of my posts there, which I'm pretty happy with. Now I could go back and improve that, but I was pretty pleased to see that. So I also went through and I broke down exactly where my posts were. So I was pleased to see that 77 posts were on page 1, 4 posts, page 4, no posts on page 3, good, and then 1 post on page 4 and 5 each. But the really worrying thing for me, a thing that made me feel a little bit depressed as I was doing this, 17 of my posts I simply could not find. I'm fairly sure they've been indexed when I put site : and the title of the post, they definitely come up on Google, but I just couldn't find them. I looked beyond page 5, 6, and they were nowhere to be found. So I don't know what that is. Maybe it's too competitive, maybe just my site is not ranking for those queries. So that's 17 posts I really need to reconsider. Maybe I need to update them. You know, that's a challenge for tomorrow perhaps. So if we look at the posts in terms of traffic, so, you know, does the ranking factor of the page, does that determine traffic and things? Well, as you're probably not surprised to see this, but 93% of my traffic comes from posts on page 1. So yeah, I mean, we all kind of know that if you don't rank on the first page of Google, you're probably not going to see any traffic. And so 5% of my traffic comes from posts on page 2 or more, page 3, 4, etc. Well, that's not really a surprise. What was nice to see is that 30% of my traffic is coming from posts that have won the snippet. However, I have to say that that may just be that the post is winning the snippet when I looked this week. It doesn't mean it was winning the snippet for the last 12 months, but it's still, that's where the traffic's coming from, those types of posts that are winning the snippet. So that's pretty cool. I reckon, you know, a third or so of my traffic coming from the snippets. And then 61% of the traffic goes to pages that have affiliate links. Now, I have been putting affiliate links in every post I've written in the last 3 months. I wasn't doing that early on because that wasn't the advice that we were given for Project 24, but they now changed it. They were before recommending a recommended page, but now they say, you know, you probably should put affiliate links into every post just where they make sense. And that's what I've always done, and I'm always selling those links. So that's a good sign, you know. Nearly 3/4 of my traffic is going to posts where someone's likely to click on an affiliate link. So I also, I got really crazy with the the data here, so stick with me. So I just checked, you know, how many of my posts actually have affiliate links in them. So 62 posts out of 100 have affiliate links in them. So perhaps that means that if I go back and look at the other 38 posts, maybe I should consider putting links in them if it makes sense. Maybe if they're getting traffic, you know, I should either promote the gear page that I still have or put links in them. Okay guys, I really recommend that you do the same thing with your sites. You've got to go back and really look at the figures, because you're going to sometimes come across a real surprise. And this is what happened to me when I looked at the traffic that's going to each individual post, and it really rang alarm bells. Now this really reflects my ability to do search analysis well when I first started, let's say, and yeah, when you look at these figures, it's just really crazy. So here is traffic by post. So I've organized it by which posts get, you know, 0 to 100 page views, not per month, but since the life of the site, so in the last 12 months. And you can see that 52 posts, more than half of my posts in the last 12 months, have got 100 page views or less. Now, to be fair, I can't tell, you know, are they posts that I've put up in the last couple of months, but to be honest, at least 17 of them are posts that, you know, aren't ranking at all, really. So you can go through and you can see that, you know, the vast majority of my posts are getting fewer than 300 page views, you know, in the total life of the site. And I'm really looking at about, I don't know, what's that, about 8 posts that are getting more than 800 in the last 12 months. Now, if we just look at the last month, where's the traffic coming from? Okay, so this is the last month. I got 12,164 page views, and I've got this one post that I I posted on the 11th of April and it just took off and it's getting over 2,000 page views. It's really something that's quite topical at the moment. I can't be sure if it's something that would carry on into the future, if it's evergreen. I think it could be. But if you look sort of the top 5 posts here, they're getting me about 30% of my traffic, with obviously the top ranking post here getting over 2,000. So this is a bit crazy. So I think the point here for me is that a lot of my posts have not yet got to that hockey stick phase. So although Jim and Ricky say it takes about 35 weeks to get 90% of the total traffic you're likely to get for that post for the lifetime of its existence on your site, I kind of saw that my hockey stick phase was a little bit later. It's closer to 12 months for me than 8 months, somewhere between 8 and 12 months. So if you're in the position where you're getting to 9 months and you haven't seen any massive increase in your traffic, don't worry, because it can just be a little bit longer for you. Maybe it's your niche, maybe it's your choice of articles. So don't give up, even if you get beyond that 35-week sort of timeline, the milestone. So talking about hockey stick growth, so I looked at the amount of traffic I was getting on posts that were 8 months or older. So as I said, Jim and Ricky reckon that 90% of the traffic that a post will get will come after about 35 weeks or 8 months. So 61% of my traffic is coming to the posts which are 8 months or older. So for me, that's around September the 20th, 2019. Okay, that's about 8 months from when I started. So that means that just under 39% of the traffic is going to the ones that are older. So just so you know that 52 of my posts are 8 months or older now, and the other 48 are younger than 8 months, as it were. But it's almost getting to about the same amount of traffic, I would say. So I think that means that as you get a lot more trust with Google, because you're tackling those lower competition queries, you're slowly going to be given more traffic because you've built up that trust. So I do feel like some of my later posts are rapidly ranking because of what I've done in the previous 8 months. So I think that's really interesting. Okay, so in terms of social media, am I getting any traffic from social media? No, I am not. In the last year, I've got something like 65 page views from Pinterest, under 100 from Facebook, almost nothing from YouTube. There's something called Pocket that sent me 2, and Quora 1. So Pinterest, I did have a Pinterest account. It got kind of banned for about 3 months. I got it back, and I haven't really done much with it. I do occasionally see some traffic coming each week, but it's not something I've concentrated on. Facebook, again, I haven't really done much through Facebook. YouTube, I've only got the 13 videos, and Quora, I maybe answered about 10 questions. I haven't really done much into social media, and that's really something I need to do in the next year, I reckon. So now I've got a few posts on the site, I need to start promoting them somewhere, and social media is a great way to do that. So I thought it might be interesting just to focus on the first 30 posts that you have to write in the 60 steps to blogging success. How well did I do? Well, not very, to be honest. So I had a look, and so 55% of those first 30 posts are ranking on page 1. So there was something like 16 posts. I have a couple that were on page 4 randomly, and then 41% just nowhere to be found. Literally, I could not see where they were ranking. They were getting literally no traffic. I think it's just terrible search analysis, no search volume at all. So, it's a hit and miss, 50-50 almost, for the posts that I wrote. In terms of traffic, so those first 30 posts are bringing in 30% of the total traffic, and the other posts, nearly 70%. But that kind of almost makes sense. I've got 100 posts, but then again, you know, nearly what 15 of them aren't even ranking. So I think this just goes to show that as you go through search analysis, you do it more and more, you get a little bit better at it. I do really look back at my my experience with the first 30 posts, and I wish that I'd spent a lot longer on search analysis. I didn't really know the niche very well at that stage. I didn't know the competition, and it was almost sort of like a, I don't know, like buckshot, you know, you're just spraying bullets over, hoping something will hit. But there you go, you live and learn. Okay, so in conclusion, I look at this, I just realized that I need to build up other traffic sources. I'm doing really well with Google, with organic search at the moment. I get nearly 90% of my traffic from Google. But as we can see, Google will hit you with algorithm updates, you know, and what can you do? Well, you can build up other traffic sources. So in the next 12 months, I'm really going to concentrate on YouTube, Pinterest, you know, other forms of getting traffic. Also other search engines, if I can find a way of getting traffic from Bing, Yahoo, even though they're smaller, perhaps it's the way to go for the future. The other thing I want to do, because recently in Project 24, we've had this new snippet optimization course. So I really want to concentrate on that. I'm only getting a 24% snippet, you know, winning 24% of the snippets with my post. So I want to push that up. I want to see if I can win more snippets and jump the queue, you know, to try and get the traffic, because I am getting traffic from snippets, posts with snippets, I should say. So it's worth spending time there. The other thing is to refine my search analysis. Yes, I'm getting 76% of my posts on the first page, but as we saw, not many of them are actually bringing in massive amounts of traffic. Jim and Ricky reckon that on average you should be getting about 1,000 page views per post, and I am nowhere near that. However, if we look at where I am in terms of the Project 24 timeline, so the Project 24 timeline tells me that at this stage I should have around 12,000 page views, and I'm right there. I should have about 130 pieces of content. I'm probably about 20 pieces short, given the fact that I've got some YouTube videos, even though they're not bringing in much traffic. And in terms of money, yeah, I didn't really concentrate on monetization because I knew that once I get the traffic, I can easily do that. It's, as they say, an afternoon's work. I just wanted to share all this data with you because I think there are some lessons to be learned here. I've certainly learned something from just looking back at what I've done in the last 12 months. So if you're at the same stage as I am, I really recommend that you do the same thing. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, why not do that now? I'm going to try and bring as much useful information to you as I can over the coming months, and hopefully you'll be around to share it with me. So thanks very much, and if you have any questions at all, leave me a comment. I always answer every single comment that I get, and I will see you guys in a future video. Bye bye.